book.
Cool.
I like that. Is it like a barn door behind you? That looks so cool.
Yeah, it's to block the window I've got over here.
Ah, looks
Slider.
good. All right, so Rockstars, see, we are live. Excellent. We are live and it's working. Talk about technology, working well. All right, so we are live in Rockstars. Hey, Rockstars, welcome. What's happening? It's your coach, Borino. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. Thursdays are usually devoted to real estate secrets, Rockstar secrets, where I bring somebody on board who can share some practical stuff with you, some practical ideas. And people are super busy, but the guy I'm going to talk to is beyond busy. He's been growing his company for several years now and has become the dominant player in the real estate industry when it comes to contact management system. Now, you guys know, what is the number one question we get on Rockstars? We have what, 45,000 members now. What is the number one question we get almost daily? What CRM should I use? What is the best contact management system? What do we usually answer? There are a handful. The best one is the one you're going to use. But by far, the one I always start with is the one that's affordable, that's robust, that's built from ground up for real estate industry, and it's built and maintained by people who know the industry, who work with you closely. So with that, allow me to welcome a great rockstar welcome to not just a great guy and an expert in the subject, but also a good friend of mine, Mr. David Anderson. David, thank you for joining us. Welcome, dude.
Thanks, Borino. It's good to be here. Hello, Rockstars. It's been a while since you and I have chatted, man. I like catching up and looking forward to conversation today and sharing a couple of ideas, kind of what we see, and hopefully we can come out of this with some actionable things for the group.
That's cool. Same here. All right. By the way, guys, this is, of course, coming live. I want to make sure we are live. Looks like we are. Are we? Let's see here. I want to make sure we are because I got a message from Zoom saying something no bueno. Are we live? Hold on, David. Bear with me. I just refreshed it.
No problem, man. Technology.
Sometimes it works, and sometimes, I was all happy that it worked. Let's see here. It looks like I lost the stream. So let me re-push it. Zoom dropped it on me.
Oh.
All right. It's pushing. There you go. Starting up.
Round two.
Redirect. Yes. All right. Yes, we are live. Good. So we had a little burp, but it looks like it's working now. We are good. Fantastic. All right, Rockstars, we are live. We are coming to you live, and I'm chatting with Mr. David Anderson, who is the CEO, founder, the head honcho of our favorite CRM contact management system called LionDesk. You heard me talk about it. We're going to talk about strategies that are working right now. David, being at the helm of LionDesk, of course, has the best insight of what's working, not just in terms of tools and technology, but approach, psychology, and overall how we can help you guys. Here's the problem I see, and David, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure you see this as well. Many agents go very aggressively, and by aggressive, I mean they're very active when it comes to lead generation. Whether it's online or offline, traditional methods of prospecting, lead generation, or the modern ways, but very often they drop the ball on follow-up. They expect either instant results or don't have a solid system in place to nurture the leads, to nurture the relationship and convert them into appointments. Do you see the same?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I say it as often as I can that we don't have a lead problem in this industry. We have a follow-up problem. And that is very obvious given the facts that NAR gives us of how many clients don't return back to the same agent the second time around. And also how many clients, even though they're submitting their lead in, one call, don't get a hold of the client, boom, they want another lead, right? And so we have, there's 1,000 different places to generate leads. You know this as well as I do. But the problem is the follow-up, right? I mean, that's really the number one challenge, that if a lot of agents would get into the mentality of like, let me follow up first and then fill the pipeline. You got to keep the pipeline going, but you also have to make sure you follow up incessantly. I mean, more deals are lost because of lack of follow-up than overly persistent follow-up, right?
Amen to that. Why is that? What do you think? I mean, with tools like yours, like LionDesk, I consider the most robust and fairly easy to use. If this doofus can figure it out, it's not that hard, friends. Trust me, that use that as guidance. Why do you think it's so hard for agents to follow up?
I think it's a couple of the basic things, right? It's fear of rejection. I mean, we all don't like that. So there's the psychological aspect to it. There's also the organizational part of it, right? Not enough time. If you're not organized, then you don't, you're going to have less time than if you are organized. And then you forget about things you're supposed to do. I mean, there's a lot of different factors that are in play of why there's, really an industry systemic problem with the lack of follow-up. And even we see the data, I mean, we get hundreds of thousands of leads flowing into LionDesk every month from every single lead source that's out there. And it's still shocking to me how many of those leads just don't get enough follow-up, right? I mean, so, there's probably a dozen different reasons why. And I think the biggest thing is that if you can utilize the technology to do it for you, then you should, right? And I think that's the biggest hurdle to overcome initially, is like, how do I leverage the computer and the data and the automation in order to do it for me? Because you're going to close 2, 3, 4, 5 times as much if you follow up with that client 5 times versus just once, right?
Right. So where do you feel like is the best place to merge the good old-fashioned, I do need to talk to these people sooner or later, there has to be a conversation, and automating? How much of the automation should an agent focus on versus how much of the good old conversation should they focus on? What would be your take on this?
Yeah, you got to get the conversation, but to get the conversation, right, you've got to put the systems in place to actually nurture that lead first. And so we know that 80% of leads require at least 5 follow-ups, right? But half, or maybe just less than half, give up after 1, right? And so you got to use the automation to do it. I think the other thing that we're seeing more and more is, you're getting a new lead. You have an ISA that's going to follow up. That's great. If you're going to do it yourself, that's awesome as well. But consumers, they're changing the way they're obviously interacting with us. I mean, we've seen texting, and I think I've been, very vocal on texting for a few years now. A lot of consumers just want that quick little text, right? What I like to say is, like, ask them, what's the best way for me to follow up with you, right? Do you want the email? Do you want the text? Do you want the phone call? Let the consumers drive that, right? Like, let them figure out, like, me, man, I barely pick up my phone anymore, right? Because I'm getting sold car warranties all day long, for an extended warranty.
Yeah.
But a text message comes through, no problem, right? I'll read it. I may not reply right away, but I will read it, And so I think that's one of those things to where that's really simple to set up, right? Where a lead comes in, or your SOI, you haven't talked to them in a while, like, just reach back out, get that conversation going. And once you do, talk to them. And I think, people just don't like picking up the phone to call their clients. And I think that's another problem that is easily solvable with, getting over the fear, but also with some of the automation that's available.
Yeah, and LionDesk has a pretty cool way of automating this process. So even if the agent is either busy, where they don't have a staff, or if they do have a staff and have a boatload of leads to follow up, your system can manage it pretty well. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right? I mean, just in the past, since we started the company 5 or 6 years ago, however long it's been, right? you know, things have changed so quickly. And it's come a long way, but everything that we're doing inside of our platform, inside of LionDesk, is to help the agents close more deals. That's it. My sister's an agent, you know this, right? And so one of the things, I mean, we always talk to her is like, what else can we do to help you? And so when I tell people, when a new lead comes in, and if you're going to send out a message right away, right, a text or an email, or maybe you call them right away, it doesn't matter. We know that the sooner you do that, the higher probability of actually getting a hold of that client is going to be. Don't wait. You know, I used to say within 5 minutes. Like now, like 5 minutes is like an eternity, right? Ideally, you get back to that client after they've submitted that lead and they're still browsing your website, or they're reading the thank you page on your landing page, or, you know, before they're off to do something else. And so inside of LionDesk, what I recommend people to do is, depending on the different lead sources that you have, let's say you've got a list of FSBOs, right? Or you've got leads coming in from your website. Customize that initial response for that particular lead type. And so you can automate it, but it's also very personalized, right? Like, hey, I just got your request, you know, off of my website or off of Facebook. Stack on top of that a video, 10, 15 second video that goes through not just email, but also text. So when that client picks up their phone and they can see your face with a little text message, it really doesn't matter if they push play, right? That's a differentiator that is going to get you in the forefront and convert those leads at a much higher rate than just shooting off an email or waiting a day or two to actually, you know, pick up the phone.
And that's something they can do right inside the platform, right? They can set up these little video messages that they can just select from the library and shoot it off.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to, you know, with the inside of the CRM itself or with the LionDesk app, you can create a video. And it doesn't all have to be about new leads either, right? I mean, let's assume you just went on an appointment and you met the client for the first time. It's a listing appointment. That client's going to forget 80% of what you said within 24 hours, right? That's just the forgetting curve, you know, that, you know, psychology tells us. And so what you need to do is have your library of videos, right? And one of those is going to be your listing appointment. And it's going to be you back in your office, right? That you've recorded once, but you send all of your clients after your listing appointment saying, hey, it was really great to meet you today. We're going to make this work out. Whatever that content is, right? Make sure that you send it out, because we know, and guys like Gary Vee tell us business owners, right? Make a lot of content, make a lot of content. The same thing as a real estate agent, you're a business owner and you're trying to make sure that that client remembers who you are, because you're battling against other people. And so to win that battle, you have to differentiate yourself, right? And you have to be consistent in your messaging when reaching out to potential or past clients.
That's a cool thing, that you can record one kind of generic message saying, hey, it was great meeting you today, without saying their name or specifics, and you can recycle that. So you can have a whole bunch of these, like you said, depending on the type of lead or type of the situation, and just reuse those, right? That's totally different.
Absolutely. SOI, past clients, new meeting, open houses, right? And so you've got your little library that you can build out. And then all of that, you just get you from your phone or from your computer, you start that campaign, right? Open house campaign. So somebody comes in, they came to your open house, they filled out the form, boom, they can get a video text on a drip campaign with a follow-up for you to call them the next day, right? And so that's
especially
the type of stuff
these days where
out.
we lose some of that face-to-face communication, we wear the masks, or it's not possible at all. I think video is a great replacement and a substitute for that. Do you see the same?
Yeah, we saw a huge increase in video at the beginning of COVID, right? Because they're not having that personal contact anymore. In a lot of areas, you know, they're still not. And so how do you do that? Just because you can't get in front of the person, right? We can do this, and the tools make it so much easier today than 2 years ago even, right? And so leverage the technology to your benefit, and you know, you're going to get a lot higher conversions.
Yeah. Now, just for the record, you guys, I don't get paid by LionDesk. I really like David, and I really like the platform. I really think if you need a good, robust, and affordable CRM system, go check out LionDesk. It's liondesk.com. That's the URL, right?
Yep. LionDesk.com. And we've got like Facebook groups and everything, and so it's goes the pricing goes 25 to 99 bucks a month, kind of depends on what you want. But I think, what I tell people all the time, again, with the follow-up, right? I mean, there's getting back to that, I mentioned, more deals are lost because of lack of follow-up than overly persistent follow-up. My grandpa told me that. There's a picture of him back here behind me, right?
Yeah.
He was like the consummate salesman. He owned a car dealership, and then he was a real estate broker. And he's the one that ingrained in my head, Champ, he called me Champ. He's like, Champ, just pick up the phone and make the call, and just don't try to sell them anything, right? Just talk to them and understand what's their pain point. And I think that, he drilled that into me just over and over and over. Like, everybody's going to have a different problem of why they want to move or why they want to sell. They either have to, they want to, they need to, right? And instead of just jumping into the close right away, right? You got to build a rapport. And I think that's a lost art. We know that AI is getting better and better. In fact, inside of LionDesk, we have AI for text follow-up. And I've watched some conversations come through, and it recognizes if the client was a veteran, right? Based on what they've said. One conversation, the AI, we call it lead assist. It was asking, when you're looking to buy or when you're looking to sell your home. Client responded back saying, it's not for me, it's for my sister. She's getting divorced. And so the AI, instead of saying like, thumbs up, great, we're here to help you, was like, I'm sorry to hear that. We're going to make this as smooth as possible for you, right? And so it's getting better and better and better. Now, there's only a certain point where you still have to take over, right?
Right.
But I think the benefit of that is, like you started off, people are busy. You're having dinner at 6 o'clock when a lead comes through. You're with your family. You got to have that family time. And so that's why you let this automation work for you. And then you can jump in at any time with that client. And I think that's the great part about, technology, like it's going to do things that we can't. And I think there's a big benefit if we just leverage it a little bit more every day. You're going to see that, your GCI increase dramatically.
Do you think technology will eventually replace real estate agents? Do you see that in the future? What's your take?
I was in the travel business for 13 years, right? So travel agents are dead. That's not true. They changed. So what used to be brick and mortar offices, you used to walk in, you opened up a brochure. I want to go to Europe on a 2-week cruise. Let me show you all the ports of call. Internet came, Expedia, right? Which is the same guys that started Zillow, right?
Yeah.
They obliterated everything. Most of the agents in America went out of business because they didn't change their behaviors and they didn't change the way they worked. And so what we did, our company, we embraced, the change that was happening. This was 20 years ago, right? And so the same thing will happen in real estate. I mean, we're seeing it. Like, if you look at what's going on with Zillow and CoStar and all these big conglomerates coming in, it will change. I think that we know that, the commissions may get compressed, but getting back to the travel agent, I mean, our business, and my family is still involved in it, it's a huge business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bigger today. I mean, it's 50 times bigger today than it was, right? And so you have to be able to, don't resist the change, right? Don't resist the fact that Zillow's a brokerage right now, right? Just know that it's still people. And these are huge decisions that customers are making. We were selling a cruise for $10,000 and they still wanted to talk to somebody. When you're buying a house for $500,000, like, geez, like you need somebody to blame other than just, typing your information in online and hoping like the sale goes through, because things happen, And so I don't think that agents are going to go away anytime soon at all, right? I think the opposite. I think more millennial buyers, and we've seen it, right? They want to talk to somebody. They want to have that interaction. They want to know about the community. They want to know what's happening. You can do all your research online, but you still want somebody to kind of walk you through this process. So maybe the role changes to more of an advisory, less negotiation, but but I think there's still going to be that human interaction for a very long time.
Yeah, it's still a people business. I'm sure that that's going to stay that way for a while. So let's shift gears a little. Many folks watching this live or on replay are people who struggle with follow-up. And it can be a new agent who doesn't have a system in place at all, or it can be an agent who's just kind of meandering through the business, trying to figure things out because there are a million things to do. So for someone who is just either confused or stuck, what would be a recommendation? Where do they start? How do they go about putting together a system that doesn't take months to set up and execute, and it's not 175 moving parts, where they can see results quickly? How do they set up a good follow-up system? What would be your advice to them if you were the coach now? Coach David.
Oh, this is why I'm not a coach. But here's what you got. You got your past clients, right? You have your sphere, you got your new leads, and then you got your old leads. Categorize those people first. If they're in an Excel spreadsheet, fantastic. If you're already using LionDesk or another CRM, make sure you've got them tagged, right? And then it's the who. Then you got to do like the when, right? So when am I going to follow up with these people? Past clients, quarterly, sphere, monthly, right? New leads, obviously daily. Then you got to do the what are you going to say, and then you got to do the why. And so if we just focus on your past clients, right? Those are in your database. You know who these people are. Hey, I'm thinking of you. Interest rates are low, although they may go higher, right? Now's a great time to move. It's a seller's market, whatever that message is, right? The why of that is because you want to stay top of mind, right? So who, when, what, why. And if you just start very simple, because it can get overwhelming. Like we know, like if you have a database, and most agents have a database of 300 or 400 people, right? If you don't have them categorized, then you don't know where to start. And that was step number one, was like organize your database, get it under control, right? As you're having conversations with people, write down the notes. You can start off really simple. And then inside of LionDesk, we actually have, because a lot of people don't know what to say. Like I don't know what to say, right? We have 1,000 or 2,000 or maybe even more campaigns that you can just download that other agents have built inside of the system that are 365-day follow-up campaigns, right? Or SOI campaigns or past client campaign. And so leverage what other people have done, modify it to yourself, modify it to your market, put it in there, and just start. That's why I always tell people, just start. Just pick a client and either pick up the phone or text them, hey, it's been a year since you moved in, how's it going? And then the next one, and then the next one, right? And then it compounds from there. And then over time, you're going to have all your systems in place for all of those different categories of types of clients.
Very cool. That's really
and
helpful.
what I'll do is I'd love to share inside the group that like that cheat sheet, because I've got a cheat sheet of that who, when, what, why, right?
Yes,
for the
please,
past,
yeah.
the sphere, the old and the new. Yeah, I'll share that with everybody so you guys got it. And it's not detailed, but it's just like a nice little chart of a reminder of like, okay, who do I need to go after in each of these different segments? And again, only one out of the four is going to be your new lead gen, right? I mean, there's still a lot of other meat on the bone to go after clients to close past or get that referral from somebody.
Yeah. And that's another thing I like about LionDesk is it really encompasses everything, tracking your transactions, tracking your contacts. You can see the history and it's all built into one place. So I don't have to have Excel here and Mojo there and God knows what else there. It's all nicely packed in one package. I like that.
Yeah, we added a single and a triple line dialer in it. I was gonna say this year, but late last year. Right, we got the video, the transaction. So it's everything that we're trying to do is trying to make it easier so you don't have to log into 5 different systems, right? And then you have a centralized view of your customer, because a year from now, again, I forget things when I'm talking to people, so I have to write notes. You can go back and you can reference that, right? Like, what did I say? What did they want? And then if you've tagged them properly, and it's just like, I've seen our agents, some of our power users that have just things like A, B, C, D clients, things all separated. And it takes work to get there, right? It does. But if you just start off simple every day, 15 minutes a day is all you need, literally, to get your database all cleaned up in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Wow. That's doable. That's totally doable. It seems that, especially in this market, the biggest source of business, and that's been pretty consistent, not just in this market, but overall, are referrals. You mentioned work in your sphere. Give us a couple of the tips for agents to nurture the relationship with their sphere, their friends, with their family. You mentioned contacting them once a month. What is some of the good content you would recommend? How do I go about nurturing my relationship with my sphere so that I see more referrals? What's your advice?
I heard somebody tell me a long time ago that every agent has seen somebody they know, whether or not it's a neighbor, right, or their friend, or maybe a family member, when they've driven by their house or somebody else's open house sign up on their lawn, right? I think everybody's like, I can't believe, I mean, you read all these posts in the Facebook groups, like, can you believe this? You know, I've known this person for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And the problem, right? The problem is that we don't remind our clients enough of who we are and what we do. We're afraid, right? You know, you think you're bugging the person when you're talking to them or hanging out with them, because they call it your SOI, your sphere of influence, because you're supposed to have influence, right, over these group of people. And agents, a lot of the time, I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of the time, they're afraid to say, hey, you know, I've got this going on, or this is happening in the market. Like, do you know anybody, right? Can I help you with anything? And you don't have to get specific, just remind them what you do. And I think that's the biggest thing. You know, like when you're at the store, one of our clients, I was doing a training up in Alaska a couple of years ago. We work with the MLS up there, and she wears her name tag and she talks to people. And it's a small community, right? But when she was in the store, she was buying groceries, and she's like, hey, how's it going? You're, you know, just starting up a conversation. Yeah, what do you do? And then she just casually inserts what she does, right? And she, like, her goal is just to meet a couple people every day. And all she does is just, you know, constantly remind people like who she is and what she does. And there's lots of ways to do it. We work with a company, I don't know if you know these guys or not. I'm going to give a quick shout out, called AM Cards. And so they send out these little, they send out these little cards, right? Curtis is the guy's name, who's the CEO.
Yeah, we had Curtis on Rockstars about a month ago. Yeah.
He's awesome, right? And so, like, you know, I tested it out because I want to do this stuff, right? Thank you for your business. And I got the LionDesk logo in here with a handwritten card. And it's like, that's simple. That costs $1, right? Yeah. Why not? Like, that's the type of stuff that you can do. And we're looking at doing some automation inside of the system. And that's another point of contact. It doesn't always have to be digital, right? It could be offline as well.
Yeah, when was the last time you got a nice card from somebody that's from the heart? That's just like, thank you for your business, and here's our big corporate logo. That's brilliant.
It was him, man. It was Stuart or Curtis. He reached out and he's like, hey, we'd love to do business with you guys. And I got the card and I was like, I got to call this guy. This is great.
Hey, Curtis, if you're watching this, where are the brownies? You should have sent him brownies.
I got the brownies. I got the brownies.
You got the brownies.
I got the brownies. They were good.
They're good, right?
I got the brownies and I got the $2 bill. So he even sent the $2 bill.
Very cool. He's going all out. That's like the deluxe package you got. That's awesome. Yeah. Good guy. By the way, you guys go check out AM Cards. It's a really good service. It's a really good system. Nurturing your relationship definitely works. And that's great to hear that you guys connected and we'll work something out together. I'm happy to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
What's next for LionDesk? What are you planning? What's going to happen this year?
Well, I'm going to get in trouble if I actually tell you. Because I was chatting with our one of our executives, and we're really close to launching a product to where we are going to, again, eliminate an extra cost that agents are going to have, that agents are currently paying for right now in terms of lead conversion. And I wish I could tell you, but it's coming pretty quick. We're in beta test right now. And kind of just to give you like a brief background, right? Like, our core competencies is obviously centered around that communication, right? We want to make sure that any touch point that you have with a client is contained within LionDesk. Now, you may use something like Cloud CMA, right, to send out CMAs, but as long as that comes back in, you can still see all of that stuff. And so last year we launched our Power Dialer, right, with a partnership. We also launched the ability for agents and brokers and lenders to utilize Facebook ads and create the actual ads inside of LionDesk where the leads come back in. And the third step of that, which we're going to launch pretty shortly, is going to basically be kind of an all-encompassing system for agents that will allow them to nurture and follow up with the leads and get really highly targeted for them without having to pay extra costs. And again, I can't tell you what it is, but it's coming. It's going to be really neat. I was messing around with it. And the cool thing about it is just like this deep integration that we have, which is really always our goal, right? Like it's easy to say like, oh, we connect with, like Anthony or Curtis, right? AM Cards. Yep. But the goal of the connection is so that you don't have to bounce in and out of these different programs to figure out, well, did I send this thing? Did I do this? Did they hit this landing page? Did they come on my website? Like what's going on? And that's the hard part of the technology, is really trying to figure all that out and just ask, Gary Keller, right? I mean, they've spent tens of millions, I'm guessing, right? And it's hard. I mean, some of this stuff is not easy to do. And that's why we rely on so many of our clients to just give us the ideas, because we can't think of them, right?
But see, that's why I think LionDesk is such a robust and popular. Sorry, I just wanted to say that's why I think you guys are such a robust system that's been around for so long and so popular, is because you pay very close attention to the feedback you're getting, the questions you're getting, the problems people run into, and you react to it. So it becomes very adaptive and evolved, not based on what you guys think should be in it. That's important, but also what the community's telling you as far as the feedback.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah, and we don't always get it right all the time, right? But I think that's the number one thing, as all business people should do, right? Like listen to your clients, kind of get back to that first point, right? What's the pain point that we have with our client and that you have with your client? And when you're meeting with them, sitting down for the first time or doing that virtual meeting for the first time, read between the lines in terms of like, what are they really looking for here, right? Yeah. And then write that down and put it in your CRM. And then make sure that you're solving that pain point on the next follow-up, and you're going to get more conversions than just the massive attack of like, non-valuable, emails and, recipes and all this other garbage that's being sent out.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking? Would you send somebody on your staff? Would you put in touch with us and we'll do actual walkthrough of LionDesk, give folks a little more under the hood. Here is how you can do things in it. Give them a little walkthrough of it sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Would that be doable?
Absolutely, man. I'd love to do that. I think there's, again, we could focus on like a couple little things to solve those pain points, right? Like what we know, the setup, or maybe that initial, like, what do I do first, and so we can walk through there.
That'd be great. Or like sending the videos. I think that would be fantastic. Like, how do I set that up? I think that would be awesome.
There you go. Yeah, we just focus on that initial videos and say, everybody, hey, I want you guys to create 3 videos, and you're the video expert, right? And so, I like it, man. That's perfect.
Perfect. All right, we'll do that. Set it up. David, I know you're a busy guy, so I'm not going to take you. But one last question, if I may, because I know this will be good. Best book you've read in the last 12 months, what would you recommend? What you went like, oh, wow, this is good. I enjoyed this. I know I put you on a spot there.
I've read a lot of books in the last year. I always go back to my favorite because I read it every year. And it's a book by Ayn Rand, I think, right? It's called Atlas Shrugged. And it's basically, I think it's like one of the top read books, ever. And I love it because to me, I'm a big capitalism guy, right? I mean, I love, the market. And so I think it's a reminder to me where it's like, hey, work really hard. Things aren't always going to work out like you want them to, and you're going to take some punches in the face. But in the end, just like if you believe in what you're doing, and if other people are telling you this is good, then you keep going for it. And that's why I read it every year, right? Like it's just another, that's just kind of the self-motivation,
Yeah.
So I love that book. The other book I read besides that, man, is like, doomsday prepping and like how to plant a bunch of things out in the garden, which I failed utterly at.
Oh, awesome stuff. Dude, I could talk to you for another hour or two, but I know we gotta wrap this up. So
Yeah, man.
Big thank you, David. Go check out LionDesk. I really like the service, really like the system. You must agree that they know what they're doing. They can help you. They have a lot of training, a lot of resources, a lot of coaching, libraries of follow-up. So not having a good follow-up system cannot be an excuse anymore. It's affordable, it's robust, it's there for you. Go use it. Anything you want to throw in there before we say goodbye?
That's it, man. I appreciate it. It's good seeing you. Good seeing the group. Looking forward to working more closely with you. And then, like I said, when we launch our new product, I think your group is going to be real excited about it, and it
Awesome.
tags on to a lot of stuff that you've been training on as well. And so we'll make sure we get on there, and then we'll also get on some training on the video content. Thanks, it's a great idea.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll do a little under the hood. Here is how you use it, and do a little walkthroughs. That'd be fantastic. People would, I'm sure, they would appreciate and get inspired. And I also think like a session like that would show them it is not that intimidating. It is not as complicated as sometimes people think it is. So I think that'd be great. Awesome.
Yep.
Mr. David Anderson, LionDesk, thank you so much. Appreciate it. You guys, thanks very much for watching. If you had trouble watching this on live, I know there were some hiccups. We're going to post a replay here on our channel on YouTube. I'll talk to you real soon. My name is Borino. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.
See you guys.